New York to Anchorage, for your patronage. Touching every sport, Real Madrid to the Lakers, Steve County Max at the school, I was all in it. I was all girls, the cross, what is it? Who are you, a sports fan? Who was it to you, man? Who are you, Shane, Will, touching everything, man? Court side, those moves, this is the play by play when they want the real deal. This is all you gotta say. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Yeah. The last time you heard a theme song for your podcast, anything sport related, debate, work, New York to Anchorage, thank you for your patronage. Touching every sport, Real Madrid to the Lakers, Steve County Max at the school, I was all in it. I was all girls, the cross, nothing different. Who are you, a sports fan? Who was it to you, man? Who are you, fan? Real touching everything, fan. Court side, those moves, this is the play by play when they want the real deal. This is all you gotta say. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry. Weapons out of bounds, he's good, we can for laundry.
All right, welcome to another episode of Rooting for Laundry. Today is August the 11th, 2020. I'm your host, Johnny McDonald. You could follow us at Root for Laundry on Twitter and IG, as it says on the ticker right in front of you. Also, follow us on, subscribe to my YouTube channel where we show the episodes, and subscribe to our Facebook page, like our Facebook page, share, whatever. Do whatever you need to do. Thank you for joining us. This is episode number 17. Today, we will be covering the New York Islanders. This is the first full episode I'm covering hockey. I covered a little bit of the Vegas Knights with James Mattern. So this is the first full episode of a hockey team. So this should be very fun. History on the Islanders. They were founded in 1972 on Long Island, and they played the majority of their existence on Long Island in the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. The Islanders won 4 consecutive Stanley Cup championships between 1980 and 1983. 7 of the 8 dynasties recognized in NHL history. They're the last team to win 4 consecutive championships in the Big 4 of North America sports, and that's pretty accomplished. That's pretty dope. So after that, it kind of sucked, but today I got 2 guests that's gonna break down their Islander fandom, and big Islanders fan. So this should be fun. So I'm gonna bring in your first guest. He is the host of the Weight Watchers Bro podcast. You can hear it all the time. Huge following, and a stand-up comedian that performs all around the country. And in my opinion, one of the godfathers of podcasting. Give it up for Anthony DiDomenico.
What's going
What's
on,
up,
man?
buddy?
Hey,
how you doing?
That's a great intro.
Yeah, I made sure I wrote it all down just like you told me to.
People are gonna actually believe that I've done something in this business now, which is good. Though. I like that.
Yeah. I forgot CSB alum. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but many other credit you can give me there.
Thanks for joining me, man. My next guest also is a stand-up comedian. He's probably the most requested guest on any podcast on Long Island right now. He's got to go, so we don't want to take up too much of his time. Give it up for Will Scharen.
Hey, what's
Will,
up?
how you doing, man? You've been on like 5 podcasts a day, man. A lot of requests for you.
Yeah. Well, when you have no job in the summer.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, thanks for joining me, man. I mean, what sucks, like I mentioned before, the Islanders, one of the most like dominant teams. The last, like they won 4 consecutive championships, almost 5. What sucks is it happened like right when either you guys were little, you know what I'm saying? So you didn't really you can't remember or what You know what I'm saying? What happened? So, Will, I'll start with you first. How did you become an Islanders fan? What's your story?
My dad was not a hockey fan. It was just growing up as a kid. Kids I went to school with, that seemed to be the team that everybody was cheering for. So when I was little, like kindergarten, first grade, I was raised on baseball and football. So I liked the Mets and the Yankees, the Giants. I watched the Jets too. But hockey was something foreign to me, and the Islanders they were the team that most of the neighborhood kids were fans of. So it wasn't until about fourth or fifth grade, I finally went to my first game, and it was unlike anything I've ever seen before.
So that's fourth, fifth grade. So that's like late 80s?
87, yeah.
87. Wow.
They were still good. The cup run was over, but I was fortunate enough that, not knowing who they were, but looking back, I got to see in my first game some of the legends that are retired. Potvin, Trottier, Billy Smith, Brent Sutter, Pat LaFontaine. They were all still on the team, but not Bossy, he retired already. But Potvin and Smith were already. They were at the end of their careers with the Isles, but I still was able to see them. But it wasn't conscious to realize how great these guys were. It would be like watching Jeter in his last year. As great as he is, it wasn't like Jeter, 95 or 99 or on the legendary teams. It would be like unaware that these guys are immortals as far as this team goes.
Yeah, that's so true. Anthony, so what's your story? How did you become an Islander fan?
At first I wasn't an Islanders fan. When I first started watching hockey and got into hockey, I was like 13 years old. I was a Kings fan.
Oh, LA Kings, Gretzky, I guess.
It's the only reason why I loved. As soon as I got into hockey, like Wayne Gretzky was the guy. I mean, a lot of people like the Bulls because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
So I guess the white kid from Long Island, he likes the hockey. He's gonna like Gretzky. So
not only that, do you remember? Sorry to cut you off. Do you remember that cartoon Pro Stars?
Yes. Yeah. Gretzky, Bo
Jackson, and Michael Jordan. Yeah, they were fighting crime while making millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, make enough money. Let's just fight some crime. But I got into hockey because of Gretzky, and I was just like, and then in that year, the Kings actually had a run in the playoffs. They went to the Stanley Cup final, and I was just like all in.
Wow.
A couple of seasons later, they traded him to the Blues, and it's just I'm like, am I gonna do this? Am I just gonna follow like Gretzky?
It's like when Michael Jordan left the Bulls. Everybody, I don't know. Yeah, I gotta find Bulls fans.
I was a Wizards fan anymore. I was a Wizards fan. Like, all right, give it up. And so I always hated the Rangers. I never liked the Rangers. Just never my thing. And I always watch the Islanders because hockey was on. So what are you gonna watch? My Kings aren't on every night. So I just was like, and we used to go to a lot of Islander games too. Well, you probably remember this. Half off with a student ID.
Yeah.
And then after
$5.
After the first period, the place was empty. They would bring you down so you'd fill in for the TV. So me and my friends would go to a lot of games anyway. So I just became an Islanders fan, because when they won the cup, I remember when they won. The last one they won was '83. I was 4. I don't remember really too much. I just remember my uncle and my cousins being excited that they won, but I don't remember too much from those years.
Yeah. What's cool, they almost won 5 too. So that's
it was like 5 in a row.
Pretty to make 4. I mean, you don't see the last champ I mean the Yankees won 3 straight, the Lakers in basketball won 3 straight. It's a hard thing to do.
The Yankees were like an inning away from winning 4 in a row. I mean, it was right, they were right there.
They were right there, man. Yeah, and I talk about that 01 because 9/11 just happened, and that would have been great for the city as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been big, but it's hard to win 4, let alone almost 5.
I mean, think about how hard it is for teams to win 1 championship, let alone then 4 in a row.
I mean, another thing that, in addition to the cups, playoff series. Once playoff hits, the Islanders won 19 consecutive. I mean, that's I mean, it's like DiMaggio hitting safely in all those games.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't think in our lifetime we'll see in any pro sport. Someone do 19. I mean, it's insane. 4 in a row is ridiculous when you think of what they go through physically on a daily basis, you know. And even Gretzky had said how the Oilers in that fourth cup in '83, they realized when they had to walk past the Islanders locker room, and he said like he learned so much from them. These guys weren't celebrating; these guys were banged up and bruised and ice everything. And he realized like that's what it takes. You have to go to war and go through a wall against the other team physically in order to earn that. And you know, I mean, he's arguably the greatest there ever will be. But it's funny, Anthony, that you mentioned the Kings, because in '93 they played the Canadians, who beat the Islanders. And my junior year of high school, like that was a time where, because we're all close in age, we all had been in high school around the same time. I'll never forget the Islander Ranger games of that era. Like you had said, when it was student night, some of the biggest stories the next day in school were kids witnessing fights in the college game. You know?
Wow, yeah, like hockey. For like, I've been to like my first like game, even though I'm a Rangers fan. The first game I went to was at the Islanders in '98, because it was just so like, if you know, I live on the borderline of Queens, so it's always easy for me to do Long Island stuff if you have a car. So like getting to the Coliseum is a 20-minute, 15 to 20-minute car ride instead of like going to the Garden, which is like, just a nightmare even on the train. So that it was just so easy for me to just go to Islander games, even though I'm a Rangers fan. But yeah, one of the, like you mentioned '93, one of the players I remember like in the beginning of getting into sports was Pat LaFontaine. He was just like a legend. Like I remember his posters like everywhere, and
the girls just loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a handsome dude.
He was like a pretty boy. Yeah, he was a pretty boy playing hockey. And he's a super nice guy. Like my day job, my company, we've done some work for him. And I've talked to him personally. The nicest guy in the world too. Yeah.
Wow. And it's funny, his whole career was based in like at least New York State. You know what I'm saying? He like Buffalo, and then 1 year with the Rangers, his final year with the Rangers. So he's a guy I remember when I first, like, whenever I think Islanders in the beginning, and then they end up trading him to Buffalo for Pierre Turgeon, who was a star too. I remember him. A lot of people had his jerseys and stuff like that. So he was another like, young guy.
He was the guy here. Like, you were an Islanders fan. You had a Turgeon jersey. I remember in school, everybody had Turgeon jerseys. My brother actually had a Benoit Hogue jersey.
Oh yeah, because he was part of the trade too. It's like that came from Buffalo. So that team was good. You mentioned the '93 run, which was the last successful long run they had. They went all the way to the conference. The
finals,
with the Penguins, who was stacked with Yager, Lemieux.
Well, the Penguins were eliminated in the first round, which was that blew people's minds, because Penguins won back-to-back, 91, 92, and we're looking
second round though. That was the second round that year.
Second round.
Turgeon got hurt in the first round. Dale Hunter drove him into the boards.
I thought that was second round.
No, that was the first round, because they didn't have Turgeon for the second round.
Yeah, it was the second round because they went to the conference.
Yeah, like, how could they be Pittsburgh without Turgeon? And it was like one of the greatest series ever.
Right. But he came back. I remember he came back.
He came back against the Canadians.
Yeah, he came
back against the Canadians. Yeah, and they lost to them in 6, and the Canadians would end up winning the cup that year. So I mean that team was gritty, like the Pittsburgh run, but it was such a gritty, because they took them to 7, and it was like, and they had that overtime game that was big.
Insane.
So,
that game was insane. That year was incredible for that year I really got into hockey, and like what a year for that even to happen. Forget about like what team you root for. It was just every series. There's so many great series in that playoffs. Even like, I was a Kings fan then. The Kings and Maple Leafs went to 7 games. That series was insane. I mean,
that whole playoffs were just
and Patrick Waugh had like one of the best playoff performance seasons. He was just like he was standing on his head making saves.
Yeah.
It was so the Islanders lost that year, but they went against an unstoppable goalie that year.
Yeah. So following to the next year, '94, they got swept by the Rangers in the first round, which is Rangers end up winning the cup, and that was that was a big deal. Yeah, '94. Yeah, it's a long time now. One of the things,
guys, they had. I mean, I like you had said before. You hate the Rangers. I hate the Rangers, but there were some guys, like when it came time for the Olympics.
Yeah,
I wanted to see Brian Leetch and Mike.
Of course.
Well, yeah, there were certain guys I couldn't hate them unless they were playing the Islanders.
Leach was the only Ranger I had hanging in my room because I just how could you? I mean, as a hockey fan, no matter that's like one of those guys. No matter what team you root for, you respect a guy like Brian Leach. He was just
he's kind of like a Jeter, where he's just like that longevity and just like the guy, the heart and soul of the team. He's just like the defenseman. That's my favorite like hockey, like Brian Leach. I remember Mark Messier came over, and Mark Messier was kind of like when A-Rod kind of came over. Not with the drama and stuff, like the baggage and stuff, but like with Leach, he was just always there, like from start to finish.
Yeah, well, that Edmonton team got just like split up, and it basically went between LA and New York.
Yeah.
Gretzky got his guys, Messier got the other half. I mean, it was
that's true.
I mean, you think about how great those teams were. You talk about the Islanders winning 4 in a row. Like those teams, I mean, they were all-star. That Edmonton team, they came together. They were an all-star team. Everybody was an all-star.
Another dynasty,
And they won. They won 4 cups, but they won 2, and then they won 2 again, like back to back. They still didn't even win, 3 in a row. That's how rare it is to do that.
And that's how hard it is for any sport.
That's 2 teams where they basically controlled a decade's worth of.
Oh yeah.
That's why I still don't get, and it's not even bias as an Islander fan, but I don't understand why they won't do the Winter Classic between Edmonton and the Islanders just for the alumni game alone. You would think that like if they want to bring the sport more mainstream, like you have literally a decade.
Yeah,
where it was like almost every guy almost every starter was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, that's because that's all like as a hockey fans, you're like, yes, that'd be awesome, but you got to think about marketing. Is Joe Blow in Iowa really care about the Islanders?
Yeah,
no, he wants to see he wants to see the Rangers and he wants to see the Red Wings, and those are the teams they want to see. They don't care about the history of hockey historians would love to see that, to see like Trotz and Potvin on the ice again against like Gretzky and Messier. Of course they want to see that, but you don't have like the casual hockey fan does not care about the Islanders. I mean, even Islanders.
Yeah,
I would say a lot of people in Phoenix don't even know Austin Matthews, who he is anyway.
Yeah, so it's it's really not that. It's really more of a marketing thing, the Winter Classic, than anything else.
Remember NHL took a whole season off, so it's like just trying to fix everything. So
they actually broke it twice. They had such momentum after '94 with the Rangers. Now this is an Islander fan talking. When the Rangers won that cup, people were so into hockey because it was such in the mainstream.
Not only that, I'm sorry to cut you off. Not only that, remember around that time, a lot of hip hop rappers were wearing hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
I think that's a part, like it was a part of the fashion. Yeah, Snoop was the first guy to wear the Penguin jersey with like sports.
The Garden was on fire that summer because the Knicks were in the NBA Finals.
Oh my God, man!
Winning the cup. But what happened was the next season they had the lockout.
Right.
Yeah,
and it just like the casual fan that was getting into it went to the wayside, and then they had that season a few more years down the road where they just missed the whole season in general. So I mean,
03 or 04,
something like that. Yeah, the Lightning won the cup, and then the next year it was just gone.
Yeah, a whole season. So it was just like NHL is kind of like just trying to find, I guess, where they fit or rebrand or get into the forefront. So so I'll go all the way to like the year after, like 94, like 95, 96, it's a mess. First of all, Mike Milbury is the head coach. And then one of the most dramatic changes in sports fashion. This happens.
Yeah. I'm glad you blocked my face out so I don't see it.
What the hell was that?
Let me tell you, so I was actually at Hooters on Hempstead Turnpike when they made that announcement. They put it on the screen, and the whole place was like throwing stuff and cursing. And like, what are you kidding me? It's like I'm looking, I'm like, what are they doing? Because they announced it like it was like during a hockey game. I forget who it was. They announced the Capitals and the Islanders New Jerseys. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at him like, what is that? That's the Gordon Fisher. All I could think about, the first thing I saw, I'm like, Ranger fans are gonna have a field day with this.
I forgot
about most certainly did.
Black jersey with the eagle.
They went to that jersey. Yeah, they went to which is a nice jersey.
Yeah.
They have like, well, Capitals got a nice jersey. Like, we have a nice jersey.
I think during that time, it was like I said, with like sports fashion being a thing, I think a lot of teams, not only in the NHL, but like all of sports had like major.
Pistons even changed the
facelift.
uniform around that time. It was
with the horse, horse, and it was like there's a lot of Sixers went for a change. The Mets a few years later went to the black uniforms. There was a lot of teams that were really like drastically.
That teal blue was very popular around that time.
Right. Yeah, because the Hornets, I think the Charlotte Hornets were making a lot of expansion teams too. Remember, NHL expanded a lot with the San Jose Sharks. That was a big deal with their jerseys. Were pretty cool.
Were light blue.
Yeah, a lot of teams came out with that color, and then when the Pistons changed it, I was like, oh, and then like it was right on the same time. It's like but they were marketing towards kids. Like that was a '90s fashion. I mean, think about it. That was '90s fashion. A
lot of hip hop, a lot of people that it was like I kind of like, all right, it's different, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, it was just different. I like the fisherman with
the capital pits.
Yeah, the only one that could get caught in that is Flavor Flav, and he literally did. He got arrested wearing the Isles. It was the regular Isles jersey, but it had that wave at the bottom.
Yeah, because in the year after, so many fans were disgruntled. There was an outrage.
And when they did it, they had to do it. I think it was that first season, one of the first seasons they did it. It was the third jersey because it was just ridiculous. They outcried it, and I remember like when they even slapped the Islanders logo. I'm like, it still looks horrible.
Yeah, it still looks bad. It was like the logo with the wave.
I hate when people wear it now. Like I see like the Islanders like promote it now, and it's like a throwback. I troll their Instagram whenever they post it. Like Islanders, I'm like, why are you promoting this? This was the worst time in franchise history. This is disgusting. What are you doing?
I think all these millennials that think it's cool to bring back something they don't remember. Nothing churns my stomach more.
Well, somebody had said to me that I saw wearing it. I said, why are you wearing that? And he goes, when I was a kid, this was the jersey. It made sense to me at that point. I mean, he's like, when I was like 10, this was the Islanders jersey. I'm like, yeah, but that's not the Islanders jersey. And I hate it because like you looked up in the rafters and there was like the logo from the cup, the teams that won the cup, and all those players that wore that the blue and orange. It just didn't fit. It was like two separate teams. And in a way, I guess it was proper because the team that was on the ice was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. They needed to be differentiated.
Yeah, they needed a different. They couldn't wear the regular Islanders jersey. They had to wear a different jersey.
Yeah. One thing I noticed too, like I didn't know, like just looking up stuff, like the Islander logo had so much meaning, especially to the history of Long Island, where they have the Long Island, the region of Long Island, and then the I on the logo points to the Union, the Coliseum, which is like, well, dang, this is a lot. And then the four stripes in the, I guess in the stick represents so it's like, so that's crazy how much like history, like all like logos have like hidden, meanings and stuff, but this one and that one, like just what it represents is pretty cool. So eventually after that, like they had the logo and then they bring back the regular uniform, a little bit darker, and then they had the four stripes down the sleeves to represent the four cups. So that was pretty cool. Like
I
a darker
those
blue.
Jerseys. Those weren't bad. I like the darker blue. I mean, you know what it was? I was just so happy they weren't using the fisherman jersey. They're using navy blue, and I kind of dug that. And even the third jersey, the orange third jersey, I had, and I dug that as well too. I kind of like the designs they had there. Yeah.
It was very similar to the Dallas Stars one.
Yeah.
Where almost like a star in navy blue. I almost wish that they would bring that back as a third if they need to do a third, or do a variation of the blue and white now where that's orange. The only thing is that it would look too close to the Oilers. But I think an orange jersey would be nice.
Yeah.
I dug the orange jersey. I mean, I have an orange.
Yeah, those were cool too.
I have an orange Islanders hat. I like that look of that jersey. People hated it. I loved it. I thought it was, as soon as it came out, I got it. I thought it was an awesome jersey.
And it's a funny connection too that the Mets have with the Islanders also is because Bill Shea is the reason. I know you're a big Yankee fan, but Bill Shea, who got the Mets into Major League Baseball, is the guy that got the Islanders.
He got the Islanders to Long Island. So that's a big deal. So that year with the fisherman jersey and the ownership scandal, there was like a lot of like things going on and off the ice that were just horrendous. So
yeah, he almost pulled it off too. That John Spano almost pulled it off. He was he was a week away from getting the cable. That time it was a sports channel money. And he would have had it. He would have had the team. And I remember in high school we were so excited. We were like, "Oh my God, we finally got an owner that," because he was coming in like, "I'm spending money. I'm getting free agents. We're gonna upgrade the Coliseum." Yeah, he was a savior. They brought Gillies mentioned him in his jersey retirement speech.
Wow. So this guy was the real deal. But yeah, it's a lot of scandal. So I'll fast forward to 2000. Charles Wang, the late Charles Wang, rest in peace. He buys a team and he's trying to make these huge changes, and that's he's gonna try to make things happen. Also, 2000, the number one pick is Rick DiPietro. So tell me, I'll start with Anthony first. Tell me how you felt with Rick DiPietro and Charles Wang coming in, a new regime.
When Charles Wang bought the team, it was exciting. It was, we had an owner. I mean, the ownership was just messed up, and Wang from day one wanted to do great things with the Islanders. And when we took over, not too long after, he made some great picks. He also made some good trades. They brought in Osgood, Michael Pekka, Alexei Yashin. And they turned the team around. I mean, they had a couple of good seasons, and they hired Peter Laviolette, who still breaks my heart. They fired him after 2 seasons. And DiPietro gets a bad rap because of that contract that he got. And anybody would have taken that contract.
Yeah, it was.
So happens he got hurt, but you know what? When he was healthy, he was a solid goalie. I like DiPietro. He just got a bad rap, because of that contract, which was
injuries. You can't help. It's kind of like I would say the Knicks. I mean, Allen Houston got a contract, which was fine. I think he was never like people jawed about it because you get like $100 million dollars to a guard.
Yeah,
but at the time, they did what they have to do. But DiPietro, you wanted to get, like, Wang was trying to make, all right, we got our goalie for the next, whenever.
It wasn't even Wang. It was, the problem with Charles Wang is, and this is probably his biggest, probably in life, his biggest, character, positive is also his negative. He was very loyal.
Yeah.
And he was loyal to a fault. And he also wasn't a hockey guy, admittedly. And he put Garth Snow in charge of that and let him run the franchise. And that was one of his first moves, was giving DiPietro 15 years. Yeah. He stuck with coaches too long. And that's the only really negative thing I could say about Charles Wang was just the way he stuck with coaches and that front office for way too long. That's basically the only negative I have of him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will. What's your thoughts?
I was going to say also, when Garth Snow and Chris Osgood were an incredible goalie tandem.
Yeah.
Prior to that. And I remember when Garth Snow's contract was up, DiPietro approached Charles Wang and had said to him, "I've never had another goalie understand where I make mistakes other than Garth." And what they did was, Milbury was still the GM. They signed an extension to Garth Snow, and over that time, Milbury's out, Garth Snow moves up to GM. And I think a lot of that was also kind of one hand washes the other.
Yeah.
Too, is that, a lot of things fell into place after Milbury was gone. And I think that goes a long way, because from what I remember, Milbury had started the outline of the 15-year contract, and Garth Snow basically made sure it was carried through. But yeah, DP, I don't like him as a person. But
you listen to him on the radio?
No, I know people that have had dealings with him, and he's
okay,
not pleasant. But
right up my alley. I like that about him.
But I also
the modern day Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah,
yeah. But I also understand, you're high if you admit that if you think you wouldn't have taken that contract, and also when you're performing at that level, you don't want to admit you can't. And I do believe this guy tried everything in his power to show he was deserving of that money, not just for his ego to fans. I don't think he cared. I think just for himself as a competitive athlete that left college early, that went first overall. I really do believe he wanted to prove to himself that he still had it, that he wasn't just nuts and bolts being held together,
Okay, yeah, that's true. 2001, 2002, like Anthony said, they brought in Yash and Pekka Osgood, and they make the playoffs for the first time since 1994. Lose to Toronto in 7 opening rounds.
That series still breaks my heart. That they should have won that.
They were
series.
Fighting.
Darcy Tucker is such a piece of garbage. He really is.
Shane Corson, Gary Roberts.
It still makes me aggravated. I got aggravated about it, but they started that season like wildfire. They came out of the gate strong, and it was a fun season. It was a fun season. It really was. It was like the first season that I like in my adult life that the Islanders were good, and you can actually see that they're going to make a run.
Yeah,
and that defense was insane. Like, that defense was one of the best. They had so many 5-on-3 penalty kills. They had Janssen, Hammerlich, Nienema, a coin. Radek Martinek was like wet behind the ears. They had a defense and a PK. Like, what's his name? Mike Pekka was a Lady Bing finalist. He was just, I think he was a Selke nominee, but at that time, he was still going to like Sakic but their shutdown defense, Bates, these guys on the PK were just insane. But the defense, they could move the puck, and it's a shame because that Toronto series, I remember going to the home games that with the break the leafs they would give out to everybody. That penalty shot is still one of the greatest moments.
I watch it on YouTube all the time because it's just the Coliseum shook. I mean, it was just insane.
Yeah.
You look up, you catch an asbestos on your face because they were catching up the ceilings. Yeah, my best friend had seats in 313 and right behind the other team's goal for first and third. And for like 18 years, he had season tickets, and then I took on the season tickets.
Oh, wow. So you were going regularly.
Well, when it was in his name, if his wife wasn't around.
That's how you do it.
Put on some music and all was good. But those, from that time on, it was insane. The memories of, but that, like Anthony had said, in our adult life, that's one of the first times where it was like
you finally see winning hockey. Yeah,
we're finally past the fish sticks era. People will leave us alone.
It was because the year before they weren't good, but you could see the beginnings of some young talent, like really starting to emerge a little bit, like a lot of those key players. And then, like the next season, they added those pieces, and they were out of the gate. And it was. And the next season wasn't as good, but they still made the playoffs, and it looked a promising team. And they fired Laviolette, and I was devastated because
you're 100% correct. He is, aside from Trotz, he's one of the best coaches. I would say Arbor's the best.
Yeah.
And Laviolette, I would 100% put up there as the next best coach they had.
He could have been the coach of that team for 10 years, 15 years. Absolutely, no doubt in my mind. And he did it. He took Carolina he won a cup with Carolina. He took the Flyers to the cup. This guy can coach.
He replaced Trotz in Nashville.
Yeah. Guy's a winner.
And when they started to lose, the reason Pekka was gone was because Pekka vouched for Laviolette as the captain, was like, it's not this guy. There's basically the morale is low and they needed answers. It was a lot easier to fire a coach and the captain, but that was a shame because Turgeon's my favorite all-time Islander, and I saw a lot of not the goal scoring, but just the I don't know, just the way he carried himself. I felt Pekka was very similar in that, like, he was very proud to be an Islander, But I mean, we haven't had a 100-point score since between Turgeon and Palffy. We haven't had a real.
No, I mean, what's his name? The trader looked like it was going to be.
Yeah.
We don't speak his name.
that guy who watched the Islanders advance in Toronto.
Yeah, his bed sheets.
We're gonna get to him soon. So I'll move all the way to, well, we talked about 2006, the big DiPietro contract, 15 years, $67.5 million, huge deal. So like, yeah. So I'll fast forward 2009, the first overall pick. we just met. We dropped some hints.
IT.
Good old John Tavares.
You know what? To be honest, I don't really have that much hatred for him. I mean, the guy for 10 years did everything he could, carried that team on his back. The Islanders never put a winning team with them. But the only thing I don't like is how he went about it. He knew he was. If you're not going to sign, don't sign. Let him trade you for what you can get something.
Yeah, they didn't get anything for him, so he just
the only beef I have with him. Other than that, and I posted about it when it happened. It was awesome watching him for 10 years. I mean, he was a great hockey player, and he did everything he could for that team. It's just a shame that they never put a winner around him. And if he only stuck around for one more season, like give Trotz a chance, and the new GM. I mean, I don't understand how Lou Amarillo's coming to the team, and I'm getting a little carried away.
You're right. And we don't know. We don't know if he if there were talks with Lamoriello, maybe just a 1-year extension, like John, just do 1 year and see how this rides out.
Yeah.
But I know, I remember talking to someone who knew his wife, and his wife is a nurse and wasn't getting apparently to work in the hospitals in the U.S. There's a lot more clearance and stuff, and she didn't have she wasn't going through the process, I guess, of clearing to do that. And I think, although he won't say it, I think that weighed a major decision on his choice, was that
his family and
his wife, right? His wife to be didn't want to.
So his wife couldn't get a job in like the U.S. It was just harder for her.
Yeah.
Well, to get a working visa in the hospital.
Oh man! So it's like a pain in the ass.
That she had to get a job.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
it's like,
he's making a few $1 million a year. She's gotta work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money on Thomas and Star Wars.
He definitely didn't marry an American woman. There's no way she'd be like, I'm good here. It's like
he didn't marry a chick from the North Shore.
No, absolutely not.
It wasn't no Rosalind broad.
No, he's not going to Manhasset to find dates. He brought someone from Canada. She said, "No, I'm gonna work. I'm okay. We'll work."
He's like, Americana. What's the Americana?
Yeah.
Making bad decisions, John Tavares.
It's always the woman. It's always the wife that runs everything.
Yep. Always the.
But I 100% agree with Anthony. I think most Islander fans do feel this way, and I feel we get a bad rap from Leafs fans. It's 100%. This guy was a major electrifying impact on our fan base. Drafting him was a no-brainer. I mean, it wasn't like
you're number one, so you're not.
Yeah, It was a no-brainer. Like this guy Lafreniere.
Yeah, the excitement too when they drafted him, it was crazy. Like I remember thinking, like I kind of had that feeling again when they drafted him that I had in 2001. That okay, we're gonna have a shot here again.
Right. We don't have to say we're rebuilding again. We know that the pieces are going to align. Yeah. I mean, this guy. I mean, what else do you want? This guy scored in that playoff series in 2016 against Florida. 3 of our 4 wins were in overtime, and he scored the game winner. First of all, he scored with a minute left in regulation, where it would have been a 1-0 loss. He scores with like 53 seconds or so left in regulation to tie it to force OT. Then we go into second OT, and he scores the game winner. And it was just like, holy cow. I was at the game with my daughter, my best friend, my nephew. I hate the Barclays, but we bought cheap seats. Like $50. For $50, it was worth seeing what I hadn't seen since I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, he was a special player, and I just remember like watching him like when he was younger, and like, oh my god, when this guy fills out and he puts some muscle on, he's gonna be unstoppable. And he was so strong with one arm. He could push a guy out of the way, and one hand get the puck in the net. He did some crazy things on the ice. And, again, the only thing I have a problem with is that how he left. But, the thing is, I mean, the reason why he gets, so much flack now, he comes back to wherever they're playing. I mean, who knows where it's either the Coliseum or the Barclays Center. It's New York, and you're going to get your balls broken a little bit. I mean, that's just how it's going to
Absolutely, yeah. But any New York player that comes here, I think it's going to be easy easy time for them media-wise. It never is. It never is. So
we're gonna use
yeah. Yeah.
That poor guy. He had no idea what he was getting into.
Oh yeah, with the Yankees flipping the bird off. Oh yeah, I remember that. A lot of guys. Randy Johnson was another one. Breaking cameras.
Randy Johnson was there for his physical. Didn't even. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, he's not going to be good.
Yeah,
because he can't even handle the guy asking him a question walking to get his physical. I'm like, are you serious?
But he was great in Tiger King.
Legend. All right, I'm gonna fast forward 2011. On August 1st, voters in Nassau County rejected a proposal for a new arena to replace Nassau Coliseum. This followed the failed decade-long attempt by Charles Wang to build the Lighthouse Project. Were you guys excited about the Lighthouse Project? Because I know it sounded good, like they were gonna build a huge lighthouse and shopping malls and just all sorts of like it was like a city, like a new city type thing.
Too much though. I think he should have started with just the arena first.
Yeah,
and I think that. But here's the thing, the Coliseum, the whole thing, it's all political.
Yeah,
and they weren't going to get the money they wanted, and it was just going to be, because they were getting the town or something. The Coliseum for a while was getting the concessions. The Islanders didn't even get the concessions from the Coliseum.
Right, the Islanders went to SKG or whatever.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. They had such a bad deal in the Coliseum, but it just worked out. Like he was going to pay for everything, so the town had, they had no say in anything. So it fell through, and it was really the beginning of the end for a while. Because how do you have a home?
Yeah, and I know
the county got parking. The land was owned by the county, and they didn't want to give up the fact that he was going to own everything. So they cashed in for every event, boating shows, whatever. And I remember at one point them saying that the environmental concerns, because the Hempstead Plains is one of the last conservation areas of the Great Plains from here to the Mississippi, which if you went to Nassau like I did, it was an easy shortcut to go from cluster A through F.
Absolutely.
And you'd swerve and hope it didn't hit geese that were crossing that little road. You could Dukes of Hazzard it like wine, but that was preserved land. And they said, well, the construction and the congestion. Then they said traffic. Like, have you been on any road in Long Island? Don't tell me about traffic.
Yeah, I just it took me over half an hour to go from Farmingdale. I live in Belmore, so I know about traffic in Long Island. It's insane.
Yeah, and then they said that. That they were hoping to get it underway for the I'm trying to think, whatever Olympics was, not 2010,
2016.
2016. Yeah. They wanted it to be ready by 2016, and then for future bids for the U.S. And the World Cup of Hockey. If there's a lockout, like there's so many plans. And,
there was a minor league stadium supposed to be built. There was just so many things that
a monorail. Shelbyville had it. North Haverbrook.
Yeah.
Simpsons reference. I know you got it. But then another concern was they said, well, all right, so that you're gonna have apartments of different sizes. Where are they gonna park? And they said, well, we're gonna dig like 5 underground. And they're like, okay, we're on an island. You're gonna dig like 3 feet like through the water table. How's that going to work? And I think no matter what, even when they said, Charles Wang, you can't put 100% of your money on here, and he was like, but I can. No, we'll let you
you don't understand.
Right. And like they tried to, no matter what he did, no matter what he proposed, they would sandbag him. And like Anthony said, it just came down to politics and money. And even when he was like, fine, how about 96%? Like he kept chewing them down and restructuring the amount of it. Meanwhile, Pilgrim State, right off the Sac Coast, they were like, you literally could drive from the Parkway with exit ramp right into this lot, and you wanted 40 acres. We have 60 acres available. It's insane. It's insane to think if it did go through, where it could have been, but also just the bureaucracy of it. And I don't know.
A lot of things.
Go
ahead.
It was like, I guess then what happened was there was now talk of this team leaving and going to Kansas City.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna mention they were like there was a city building a arena in Queens next to City Field. There's maybe Suffolk County, Kansas City was another destination, and Quebec City.
Quebec
was
City was
another,
another, and they started building arenas. We're not even like a team there. They started building a state-of-the-art arena. And I actually thought they were going, to be honest. I'm like, well, there's nothing keeping them here. Why are they here? I mean, they're not giving the Islanders anything. Long Island has one professional sports team. I mean, I understand New York's got a bunch, as far as New York as a collective, but like Long Islanders, the Islander fans feel this. I think it's a special connection because
absolutely
it's 10 minutes from my house. Like 4 Stanley Cups were won 10 minutes from my house. It's such a small community, and Long Island itself, it's very, it's a tight knit community, and like you're proud to be from Long Island, and you're proud of, what goes on here. And it's like we have this team, and now they didn't want to give him a home. I don't understand. I never got that, and I understand politics went into it. And I'm not smart enough to understand all of it. I'll admit that.
And plus, I know, not to cut you off, but I know everybody that lives, at least in Nassau County, probably pay the highest taxes in the country.
Yeah, there's no way they couldn't have built this. There's no way this thing could have been built because now they're doing it in Elmont.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it at Belmont Racetrack. And I've seen the artist rent. It's going to be beautiful. And it's going to be exactly what they should have built here because it's not – They put a lot of the old Coliseum into it. It looks like just as far as the shape of it, but it's gonna be state of the art. And finally, the Islanders are gonna have a home. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's in Queens." I'm like, "Well, it's Queens, but
it's not in Queens.
Belmont Racetrack is not that far.
It is 90. If you want to be technical, it's probably 90, 120 feet away from Queens. I live probably 5 minutes away from
I'm
there.
okay with that because I've been to Belmont a billion times. I used to sell ice cream at the train station, my uncle, because he was on the railroad. So I used to sell ice cream there on the weekends. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. No. The railroad's going to go in there.
The railroads, exactly.
If I had to pick a place, I mean, if it was okay, because Barclays is horrible. If there, the choice of Barclays, them leaving or out in Suffolk, I'm happy with the Belmont Racetrack. I really am.
Yeah, part of the problem, if people go to Nassau Coliseum for anything, it's the Long Island Railroad doesn't stop there. So you got to go to Hempstead, and what do you either take a cab or a bus, and it's it's kind of inconvenient for anybody to go there.
That was an issue for years. Is if they were to relocate, because we were the only arena I think in any major sport that's in the middle of the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing. It was where we need to go somewhere near airports or near hotels where there's lodging. I never understood why they didn't pick 110. You have Republic Airport right there, the hotels. I don't know if it's because it's so close to it, the fear that maybe there was a I don't know, but that whole area where Jillian's or David, even off Melville or even off the 135, even off the LIE. All those Melville quadrangles. I never understood why they didn't think to just build it there because it's right off a highway. It's geographically closer to the middle of Long Island. You're still going to get your Smithtown Ranger fans going to games. I
think now though the goal is now to draw from the city.
Yeah,
and I think that was kind of why Brooklyn and why the Barclays Center and because the Nets were. I think when the Nets went there.
It was 2012. That's when they made the announcement that they were moving to the Barclays Center for the 2015, 2016.
At first, I liked that idea. I just didn't know how bad it was, because I never been to the Barclays.
It really was definitely made for basketball. Oh, I hate it regardless. They had the choice. I don't give a shit.
They had the choice to make it, hockey compatible, and they were like, no.
Right.
And
I think because of the location, if you've been there, it's right in the heart or in the middle of downtown Brooklyn, where all the trendy sets. Yeah.
But I had good seats, so it didn't.
Yeah, God bless you.
It didn't. No, I went to the WWE Hall of Fame when it was there a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, when Bret Hart almost got tackled.
I didn't have good seats, and I was like, if I had to watch a hockey game from up here, I'd be miserable.
Man,
I'm glad I've never had to sit in the nosebleeds for a hockey game.
Oh, it definitely was. It was only made for basketball and other things. It's not made for. I went to one 2 years ago, in November 2018, and I was like, oh, these seats are like $30-something. That's cool. And they played the Rangers, so it was cool. I haven't been to a hockey game in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And going there and just like you couldn't see, like if if they're coming to the other goal, I couldn't see, like all you hear is it's like Yankee Stadium if you sat in the right field bleachers and the ball went far enough. Well, not the right field bleachers, the right field upper deck, and the ball went far enough. You're like, all right, did he catch it? Did he not catch it?
The only thing Barclays is really good for, and I haven't been here for this, but concerts they said are amazing there.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I mean,
I just hate the seats. They're steep. Maybe because I'm biased, like a Knicks fan going to the Garden. It's like so much better. But like the bar, huh?
You get vertigo up there.
Yeah, every seat is steep. Yeah.
I don't like heights. I hate heights, and I remember when I used to go to Shea as a Yankee fan, like every once in a while I'd go with my friends, and I hated how steep it was up there. Like, you go to the upper deck, it was just like, I felt like I wasn't even like, I was like holding on to the seat the whole time because I'm at a pool. And I kind of felt like that way at Barclays when I went up there, and I'm like, this place is not for hockey at all. It's not go for it.
Yeah, I personally hate it.
Shea, the old vet where the Phillies played.
Oh, I never went there.
Oh, I've been there. Oh, yeah.
Dude, when they traded Dykstra, when it was the Dykstra Juan Samuel.
Yep.
Just got Juan Samuel. We went there that summer, and Anthony, let me tell you, like we were like maybe 12 years old, and I remember feeling like we sat on a 45-degree angle in nosebleed. We all just topple over down.
Those were the cookie cutter stadiums that were built for multi-purpose, like football and baseball. So it's like everybody.
Yeah, they were all built the same kind.
Shea Stadium, to a certain degree is too. Was too. So I'll fast with the first year of Barclays Center. Actually, they were good. That's the first time they had a good playoff run in 23 years. So it's a reluctant move for fans to go all the way to Brooklyn and get on that railroad. But, you had a successful team on the ice, and they beat Florida in 6 in the first round. So they finally won a playoff series for the first time in a long time. So, and then they lose to Tampa Bay in 5. So how did you feel about that inaugural year for the Isles at the Barclays?
Well, I mean, just to go back quick, I remember being at the last game they played, which was Game 6 of the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? I skipped forward. The alleged last game at the Coliseum. Let's talk about that. That was a series against the Capitals. Yeah, I'm so sorry because the Nassau Coliseum is so memorable place for everybody. I remember driving by and just seeing all the Isle fans. Like everybody was just. Like it was like the circus coming. Like it was just so many people in the barn. It was the last
spilling out. It was like the circus.
Yeah,
a couple bearded ladies and.
So let's talk about that last. They took the Capitals to 7. Game 6 was the alleged final year at the at the barn. So
I just remember going with 2 of my closest friends ever, and I remember us walking out. And again, my nephew came, my daughter came, and I just remember us walking out like, not even thinking like, is it? Like walking out on such a high that like we are going toe to toe with Ovechkin, and their team, and Trotz was their coach. But it was just that series. There's so many ups and downs. Like Ovechkin scores and drops to his knees, and then. Johnny Boychuk hits a game winner and does the same dance to make fun of him. And it was like, we were all part of that inside joke. Like, that team, that's when they started to do the center ice yes chant.
Yeah.
Like, that team really knew the fans were for, like, they really acknowledged the fans, like the Rangers always did the skate. But that was really the first beginning of an Islanders team where they really, they knew how much the fans meant to them and how much they meant to the fans, But I remember walking out of there like, holy cow, like not even thinking like, I remember it was a sunny day. It was an early game. We walked out, the sun was setting, and it was just like, it was like poetic because it was like, I hope to God we come back. But if not, dude, what a game. Like that was, if it's the last game, that was
the perfect way to go out. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a great game, and yeah, I mean that season, the next season afterwards, that I felt good about. But again, a part of me always was like, I wish this happened at the Coliseum. That's all I thought about the whole time. Anything happened at Barclays, I was like, I wish it was at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Or like anytime they lost like a close game, I'm like, well, if it was the Coliseum, they would have won. The crowd would have been high. I mean, it's just I always wait, and then they switched it up again, and they were coming back. I mean, even this last run and the last season when they did the first round at the Coliseum and they beat Pittsburgh, they swept them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just showed. I mean, that place was insane, and then they weren't going to have any more playoff games there. And I don't want to say that's the reason why they lost, but I mean, there's just a certain energy at your home, and Barclays was never home. It was like I always felt like they were playing. They didn't have home games.
They were rented. Yeah, they were renting the place.
Yeah, they were renting the place. The ice was always horrible. Like all the players complained about. The ice.
A lot of complaints.
The Coliseum, they knew it was home.
And to their credit, if you look, those Barkley years, they also had a great road record. And I think to their credit, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that there was traveling. A lot of these guys have naps before games. They have these rituals that sometimes they're just staying the night at Barclays or the night before because you have to get that routine in. But another thing is there's a loss of Barclays. It's not, all right, well, I'm leaving now and getting in my car. It's a 20-minute drive home. Shit, when's the next train?
Yeah, it's not fun.
5-0 in the second. I still got to wait another 50 minutes.
I mean, the Coliseum was horrible. Like it was like one exit in and out, but it was just. It's still. I mean, once you got out.
I never park there. Whenever I go to anything, I park in the back street.
Oh, you park in the back?
I just find it.
Even if I waited to get out, I mean, as soon as I got out of there, I was home in 10 minutes. Yeah. It was like it was not even a question of worrying about how late it's going to take me to get home.
And those wins though, dude, when they won games there, if it's an overtime, whatever. The traffic in the lot and the constant "Let's go Islanders" horns, like it. I wouldn't care unless I really had to go to the bathroom. I didn't care if it was a 20-minute wait in that parking lot because it was such a sense of community that you didn't get leaving the Barclays.
Yeah, you never wanted to leave. It's kind of like after certain events. I remember going to WrestleMania, I didn't want to leave.
No, I mean I went to a game this season. I guess if people even remember what this season was really like.
I know.
Before the world shut down. And it was awesome. It was the Coliseum. We had great seats, and it's just a different atmosphere. They played the Red Wings. They destroyed them. I even went
they split. Did they split the season totally in half between Barclays and that the Coliseum, or just?
Yeah, it was 50-50. It was they were
50-50,
playing. They were playing like 20 games at the Coliseum. 20, but they said originally before this whole happened that they were going to play the playoffs at the Coliseum.
And mind you, the Coliseum now they give it. It's not really a facelift. It's more of they put a Band-Aid on it.
They did because I work for a generator company, and when they were renovating it, they had us come look at the generator. And I remember we were like, is this the same? How old is this? Like, what's the original? We put that in 72. I'm like, well, why don't you?
Wow.
You're spending all this money renovating. Why don't you put a new one in? Like, well, it still works. I'm like, that's exactly how they went about the renovation of the Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's just basically they changed the chairs and put that fancy crap on the outside.
That's all they did. Yeah, that's all they did. It really looks not bad.
One of the best ways to describe the Barclays, Colin Quinn, one of my favorites ever. He had said, he's like, you got that Barclays Center, huh? If that's a great representation of Long Island, aluminum siding thrown on a 50-year-old building.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
It's like,
wow, that's Colin.
Well, yeah.
It's exactly what it is. I mean, they renovated it. It's the same building. It's the same crappy seats. It's nothing's new about it.
It was the hope that the bathrooms were going to be moved to the outer sides, that you wouldn't have to wait and cross through lines to get to your seats. There's all this stuff, and then you said, they put
nothing.
A Band-Aid over
They put a Band-Aid on it.
Yep.
Yeah. even when Charles Wang had announced, the Barclays, it's an ironclad deal we're going to do.
Yeah.
The contractors, they said, they poured cement in the sinks and toilets of all the luxury boxes, so that when they tried to reopen, a lot of those things either flooded or people were like, I'm in a luxury box, like I can't flood.
Holy shit.
Some people were convinced that they were never coming back.
Wow.
I don't know if they fixed it since then. They had to have. But imagine that, like you're Butch or Brendan, you're like up in the press box, like, I'll be right back. Mark Barzell is taking a shot.
Yeah.
And Brendan, there's a problem. The toilet won't flush.
What do you guys think of Matt Barzell? Because he's like the emerging star out of anybody. Tavares is gone, Barzell, and they have a lot of guys that are
Barzi's
like,
better.
yeah, a lot of
That kid who won the
promise,
They do. Barzell is a great talent. I mean, a different kind of player than Tavares. Tavares is stronger, more tougher, I guess. But Barzell's got all the talent in the world, and they're putting players around him. And I think this team, though, what's important, I think, and they had to do it. So much emphasis was put on Tavares when he left.
Yeah.
I think this team really came together with that, and it's not just one player. Every night, this team is somebody different. And they have the best fourth line in the NHL. Like, their fourth line is incredible. And I think it's always a team effort now that, they don't have their big star, even though Barzell's the star of the team, but they don't have that big star anymore. And I think it just made them even more of a cohesive unit.
Right. There's no, like, Tavares made everybody on his line at such an elevated level. Barzell can skate all day, but he's not the guy that they rely on to shoot. A lot of times we're yelling, shoot the puck, because he's skating forever. Yeah. Tim Connolly used to do that a lot when he started out with the Isles. But yeah, I totally agree. Tavares took a guy like Matt Molson and made him a consistent 30-goal scorer. I mean, what he did to the guys around him, he made them better players. These guys are such a more tighter unit that they have no choice but to rely on each other. And that's something that Edmonton, no matter how many first-round picks they get, these guys, it's like Herb Brooks said in the Miracle movie. He's like, all-star teams fail because they rely on the talent of each individual person.
Yeah, and I mean, as a Yankee fan, the Yankees get they buy everybody. That's the
that was going on for
the Yankees get like branded with that. But if you look at that '96 team,
oh yeah,
there was no superstars in that team. I mean, Jeter was his rookie year. O'Neal wasn't like O'Neal yet. I mean, they didn't have. They paid their guys.
Wade Boggs was probably like a little past his prime.
Boggs was past his prime. I mean, so it really. I mean, later on they started tacking on the talent as far as like Giambi and those guys like that. But that first run, there wasn't any superstars on the team.
Yeah, I always say '96 Yankees, even though I'm a Met fan, because there's so many Mets on there. I like that team with Strawberry, Doc, David Cohn.
Those role players. I mean, everybody.
I think was with them still.
No, he was gone. He was gone.
Gone?
Yeah. But that was that 96 Yankee team was.
That's why this Islander team, I think, that's why it's one of the reasons why I'm drawn to it so much too. It's one of my favorite group of guys because I have like the past like 20 years because everybody's playing like hard every night. It's different person stepping up.
Yeah. Like you mentioned before, like the 2019 playoff, they swept Pittsburgh, and then the second round they were swept by the Hurricane. So it was like that was
that was a slap in the face. That was like I didn't expect that to happen, but
it's like we're gonna do it. Yeah,
I think they really surprised. Not that I think that year they were looked at by a lot of outsiders as such a joke because they had these ridiculous goal celebrations afterwards.
Yeah.
And Don Cherry said he's like, oh, these jerks, you got these guys over here, you're celebrating, go home like gentlemen, but they became people didn't know that they were doing this, and they embraced that. They still have whoever's their social media person on Twitter is like amazing. The second
everybody's social media is funny. A lot of comedians on there. A lot of funny stuff.
But like Wendy's is known to troll people.
Wendy's is great. Wendy's probably has the best Twitter.
Are great. Like the second the Rangers got the pick, the Hurricanes were the first to tweet that. Yeah, you're welcome. They eliminated the Rangers. They're just savage, man. It's great.
Wow.
They're
great.
I didn't expect to sweep Pittsburgh. There's no way you come off from that high and then to get swept I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Carolina to win the cup?
I think that just showed the inexperience of that team. They're very young, and it's an inexperienced team to bounce back from that. I think they put a little much stock in that first round win. But I mean, in this season, who knows? I mean, who knows
fast forward 22, like we're in present times now. They beat Florida 3-1. COVID happens, the bubble. Now they're in the bubble, lockdown. It
kind of helped them. COVID helped them because they were in like a tailspin when they had a lot of injuries.
Yeah. And
what happened was everybody got healthy now, and that fourth line's back together. You have a lot of the guys that were out are back in, and then post make a run. And I know a lot of people, and this is every sport, that say like, it doesn't count if you win this season. If they win, this counts.
Like a lot of NBA, there's a lot of NBA guys like that are doing like better. A lot of in all sports, they're like, guys that weren't doing so, they're on fire, or vice versa. You never know, because you have such a long layoff from uncertainty of what's going on. It's like, all right, are we going to play? Because I wouldn't be surprised if like baseball cancels 2 or 3 weeks later if a lot of more people get sick. All this is very unpredictable.
Yeah, it's all unknown. Yeah.
Yeah. So
coronavirus.
So now, like I don't live too far from I like calling it the USB arena. It'd be shaped like a USB stick or something. But UBS is the corporate sponsor of the new UBS arena by Belmont. It looks like every time I pass it, I live right off the Cross Island. It looks pretty cool, like it's going up. And like Anthony said before, it's an appeal because, like I said, it's like maybe like 90 feet away from Queens, basically. So you get it's still on Long Island.
And we have a corporate sponsor.
Yeah, it's still on Long Island. It's still on the island. Yeah, which is cool. And it's it's a place now. You got a horse track. I'm pretty sure they're gonna build a lot of cool things inside, outside, around around that. So I'm hoping if we survive all this, that it'll be a cool destination for not only the Islanders, but for everything else that comes over there, concerts, wrestling, any event that comes over there. I think it's going to be a cool location. You got a huge parking lot. I wonder what all those cars that come from like dealerships do. You know what I'm saying?
The Islanders are definitely a team where I think tailgating is a big thing for the fans. It's because we grew up just driving to the Coliseum, so it was always tailgating and hanging out. And it's one of the experiences about going to an Islander game that was lost with Barclays, and I'm excited to have that back.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be like convenient for like if they got some city guys that come out to the island, it's convenient for them because you got the railroad. You got a lot of a lot of Queens. You might want a lot of Queens people like that live in the area. Opens up a lot of jobs.
We're welcoming everybody. Come to Island Nation.
Yeah.
I have family that lives in Floral Park, and they were
right there. Yeah.
And I remember not them, but reading articles of people that were against it. One of the concerns was tailgating and the influence of like rowdiness and
alcohol.
There are people that once a year your town is relevant when there's a horse race.
The horse race, and that's wild. I've been to a bunch of them, and it's crazy. Yeah,
there's people that walk.
Seriously, Belmont could be crazy.
It definitely is. I've seen some. Yeah,
like I understand the concern.
I've seen some hats. I've seen some big hats flying a couple of times.
on a day in January, I remember there were things about like tailgating. They need to have high bushes, because my kids can't see tailgating. Like I've seen people do way worse when it's the Belmont Stakes.
Oh yeah,
and they're coming from half a mile away. Like if you eliminate tailgating or you shut down, like Islander fans are not going to be tailgating in front of your house.
No,
and there's really not too much property over. I mean, you have that big ass parking lot.
Yeah.
So I think most of the tailgate will go, and I don't see too much like residential. Probably past when you go a little bit further down Hempstead Turnpike, past like maybe the gas station. There's a few houses, but I don't think it's going to affect anybody. It's not going to be for the neighbors. I don't think it's bad. It's going to be fine. You're right.
It's gonna be great. You're gonna have the Islanders gonna have a home, and the people around there, they're not gonna. They're complaining now because no one wants construction, no one wants extra. I get that.
Yeah.
But once it's up and running,
it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful for I think everybody involved. And
I don't think I can't see a game ever where fans will riot in the streets or loot. Like,
No.
Unless
you win the cup. Unless the cup.
Well, that's the thing. Like the Staples Center, they turned over cars. The Canucks, when they lost, they destroyed Vancouver. I can't see even Ranger fans too. Like there's hockey fans are Long Island hockey fans are not like everyone's got a regular job. Like wants to go home.
Yeah, and when we get filmed for everything, you don't want to jump. When you're drunk, you're probably not thinking, but when you're,
Yeah, but you know what? It's just like Will was saying about Vancouver and it's different here. I mean, one, there's so many teams in New York. So I mean, just hockey alone, you have 3 in the metro area.
Yeah. Yep.
2 basketball teams, 2
two of everything, two of everything,
basically.
Yeah.
So like, if a team loses, I don't think it's like. It's not like the whole city is invested in one thing. Like Vancouver, it's the Canucks.
Yeah,
and if they lose, they just
lose
that shit. They go crazy. It's different.
Yeah, it's not many people that fly and die with that team, no matter what. Like a World Cup.
Yeah, and that's in New York fans very passionate, but again, like John, you said, they gotta go to work the next day. I mean, that's really what they're concerned about. And I think that's one of the benefits again of having an arena close to home. I can get home. I can go to a game.
Yeah,
I can leave work.
Be home in like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Well, I can leave work at 5. I can still get to a game that starts at 7, and I can be home in my bed by 10:30.
Yep.
So that's a big thing. It was not happening at Barclays. That was not. No. I would have to take a half a day at work, take the train in early, and then I got to get back to train and change to Jamaica, come back to Belmore. So it's a whole big thing. So it's a million times better what they're doing now.
Yeah. I wonder where it's curious, like if they do win a cup or when they won the cups back then, did they have parades or anything? I guess they did it in a parking lot, or
they did it like they called it down Al Over Way. Yeah.
Earl Ovington or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, because I know when the Devils won, they had it in the parking lot, and it was like, okay.
I'd like to see a Hempstead Turnpike parade like through our house.
Just go through, yeah.
Even if they did it, like they're not going to do it straight through Farmingdale, but like we don't have.
This be a big deal. Yeah.
My neighbor, a couple doors down, his girls went to school with me, and I remember I used to when we had season tickets and have meet and greets. He gave me a picture he took of Butch Goring in a polyester blue suit on like a 78 or 79 convertible Mustang, and he's like, if you're meeting Butch, can you have him sign this? It's I took this, and when I gave it to him, Butch was like, oh geez, I was a snappy dresser back then. You could see like parts of what Nassau Community College were, from the parking lot. It's just again, we're small, even though we're an island, like we're still a small town. That don't take this from us.
Yeah. All right, guys. This was fun, man.
First from Valley Stream, Anthony. I know you're closer. Fred,
unfortunately, yes, I am. I'm kidding.
You think you can sway him to go to Islander games with the fact that there's a track there?
Yes, he'll go to Island. I actually went to an Islander game with him. Here's a quick story before we wrap up at the Coliseum. So I got free tickets from somebody, and I took him and I actually had extra tickets, so I took his kids with us too. So, during every commercial break, they're showing like on the big screen, like, all these like, shirts and hats and all this stuff. And they're like, Daddy, where is that? And Mark's like, oh, that's like the store and the place that's an advertisement. I go, kids, your dad's going to take you there after the game. And he's going to buy you all the trinkets and treats that you want. And they're like, trinkets and treats. Like, yeah, anything because he loves you. He's your father, and he loves you. And he's going to show you how much he loves you by buying you anything you want.
Wow.
And he got away with, he bought them a pretzel out of a shopping cart after the game. That's
that's the way to do it. Yeah. Save a lot of money. All right, guys. This was fun, man. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad to do this with you, especially you two guys. I talk to you guys outside of sports. Yep. So, Will, real quick, anything you want to plug?
In 1 minute, I'm going to be on No Rhyme, No Reason with Rich Rita and Jeff Bosey. And
Long Island's Most Wanted.
I'm going to be on the next Domestic Disturbance podcast at the patio.
With our good friend Carla Okerson and Keegan and Saliani.
Yeah, I just don't know. We don't have a confirmed date yet, and that's it. Like all the other shows are like hush hush, but that's
got it. I understand. Yeah. Anthony, anything you want to plug, my brother?
Yeah, you could listen to my podcast. It's a WW Row podcast. It's available at www.podcast.podbean.com as well as on iTunes. Any really podcasting platform. It chronicles my weight loss journey. Also,
this guy lost 200, 100, 200?
206.9.
206. That's phenomenal, man. I thank you for having me on. It's impressive.
You gotta have me back.
What you've done. Yeah, you gotta have me back. I'm doing better. I'm eating vegan. Or Carla Okerson would.
Are you really? You're doing vegan now?
We gotta
talk about that. We'll definitely
or Carla Okerson would say vegan. She says I'm a fake ass vegan. That's
why. I definitely gotta have you back on. We'll definitely talk. It's been a while.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was a fun time.
You can follow me on Instagram at Comic Anthony Day.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, man. Hope to see you soon. Hopefully we'll be performing together again and all that stuff, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man.
All right, take care. All right, guys, that was Anthony DiDomenico and Will Scharen. Follow them on their platforms, IG, Twitter, what you see on the ticker. Follow us at Root for Laundry. This has been fun. Tune in next week. I'll have another guest. We'll talk about another team, and we'll have loads of fun. All right, guys, stay safe, be well, and thank you again. Bye.